radio that came in the S2000, it does work, but I do have to plug like an aux cable into it, and that's a thing of the past, as I'm sure no one else wants to plug an aux cable in. So what I bought is a cheap Pioneer radio, and I bought, I'll show you in a second, basically controls to grab the steering wheel controls on the S2000s over to the side, back to the head unit. So that all in all was like $113. I just grabbed the generic, just something I can grab real quick that was cheap. Pioneer S4220 Bluetooth. So that's the side. I grabbed this steering wheel control, the ASWC, which is a universal fit. We'll get to that. And then I grabbed this Honda Acura universal harness chassis adapter. Then on top of it, I'm going to be throwing the same little self-powered little tiny sub guy that goes underneath the seat in the S2000. If you follow me, I also threw this in the CRX. I liked it. It's simple. I know a lot of people are going to say just throw an 8, throw a 10, 12, whatever the case is. I'm just going to put this back where the spare tire goes. Alright, so over onto the amp, which we're not installing just yet, but it comes with basically everything you need to install it into the car, except for some RCAs. So I bought a 10-foot thing of an RCA that I'm going to run from the back of the trunk to the back of the head unit. Now I have already wired everything up, so I should get a little ahead of myself, but so this is the connection that will come with whatever radio you end up buying. Here's the harness adapter for Hondas and Acuras, and this is what comes out of the little steering wheel control box. So everything from here to here is very self-explanatory. You're basically just going to connect, your front positive, your front negatives, all the wires are good to go. Where the only bit of extra work comes into play is when you get over to this steering wheel adapter control. Now I say that because you have 3 connectors, or basically 3 wires that need to come from it to plug into this system. So you'll connect the red wire here to the actual 12-volt accessory wire. So you can see I kind of tied it into the 12-volt of the harness adapter, and also for the radio. They're kind of sharing the same input. Then you'll take this gray and red wire and put it in pin 3. Now if your harness adapter is like mine, there is no plug in pin 3 on here. So what I did is I just grabbed one of the unused speakers that I'm not using. Like I have no rears, so I took one of the rear wires, I depinned it, and I put it into pin 3, which now in my case is a purple wire. You can use whatever wire you want. Essentially pin 3 was not filled on here. So again, grab an empty wire that you're just not using on anything in the harness. As you can see, I still have some empty right here. After that, connect the yellow and green wire coming from the steering wheel control, and that's going to go to pin 14 on here. Pin 14 is going to be the exact same situation as pin 3. You're not going to be able to have a wire there most likely, so you're going to pull a wire out that you're not using and put it in pin 14. I'll throw a diagram up here. If not, you can just Google ASWC-S2000 pinout and this will come up. Then from here, you're also going to grab your black wire, your black and green and white wire. And these are basically going to be chassis grounds. So if you follow those, I took them to the black wire there, which is the chassis ground in the harness, and I also tied in the radio harness. Again, so the radio and this are basically just straightforward, just going to almost connect just color to color. This is the only thing you need to add onto. Just remember pin 3 and pin 14, you're going to have to relocate something out of this adapter into pin 3 and pin 14, an unused slot. Again, I'll put a diagram on the screen before you. So basically you got to start with popping down the vent here. If you got some kind of plastic tool or something just to get in there, you're just going to kind of stick it between it and the you can kind of see it kind of just pops out gently in the top. And then everyone says just kind of wiggle the bottom. I'm going to kind of fold that up a little bit. And there's my vents. This is on an AP1. I believe on AP2s they've got like some kind of airbag warning or something there. All right, so there's going to be it's going to be 6 total screws. 2 in the top, 1 big one in the middle on both sides. Basically just take off the 2 little ones. Once those are removed, Should just pull straight out. Alright, so here's the radio going in. You should have just saw as you took yours out. You got these little brackets that are going to actually kind of go on both sides of it and hold it into the car. So if you look, you can't really bolt it in exactly. Everything's just kind of being blocked. So most traditional, I guess, single DINs, you have this little tiny little bracket here to kind of hold it in. So I'm going to have to gently pick that up so I can start to remove it. And do the same with the other side. And I can remove this. Alright, so battery's removed, and if you look, I've got some leaves and whatnot down there. I got to vacuum out and stuff, but there's a grommet right there. That's where I fed the power wire here for the little self-powered amp. So it's going to kind of go through there. I fed it through with a, as you can see, I fed it through. I put a piece of welding rod on it, taped the crap out of it, and I fed the wire up through there. Alright, so the power wire is up now. This is a 1/4 inch, just that nice sleeve that I pretty much put on, I guess, everything you can say. Keyword, I do this all the time, but before you put this on, don't strip the wire. It makes it that much harder getting it on. Then it stabs you and everything else. Alright, I'm going to put a terminal on here so I can connect it to the edge of the battery here. Alright, so now that I've got the cable just kind of looking nice and pretty, which you visually see. This is going to be kind of tucked away. You'll never actually see it. It's more of a visual thing. Now, earlier what you would have had to have done is I would have had to have ripped off all the electrical tape that was here. It kind of started back here and went kind of forward just to keep a little extra watertight on the wires from leaking in. So now it's going to be kind of hard to show it to you, but I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Just gonna take some electrical tape now, cut some pieces and wrap it all around it. Okay, so the line that we fed all the way through the passenger side here, I had to cut the end terminal off just to make it easier to come in. So now on the side that actually plugs into the amp, it normally had this kind of style of bullet connector. But like I said, I cut that off on the other end and just added this connector. So now I'm all doing is just adding a male connector to here so I can plug basically what came in from the cabin, from the battery, into the wire that goes into the actual little radio, or the head unit, the sub itself. Alright, so the door sill is back, and you can see where it all just kind of routes up. There's this nice little home here, and then we'll have this interior panel that just kind of just lay right over it. Alright, so the wires are kind of roughly back here. Here's the spare tire well. So I have no spare tire that mounts there, so I had my lovely wife just kind of cut something out here to kind of match that contour. Now I just need to come out a little bit further, maybe to bump here, maybe just kind of come out there. I don't know if I have enough wood. I'm going to try to reuse the splitter wood that I have. And then this is going to basically bolt to the spare tire. The piece of wood wheel, I'll have to offset it probably over here a little bit so it sits level, and then I'll put the amp right on top of it. Alright, so we're going to have to clean all this wiring up and stuff. Just kind of did a little test, but you can see how the wood kind of contours to it. I just kind of rounded the edges here. And just sits like so. So I'm going to unbolt this and put some carpet, make this a little nicer. Alright, so this is the same carpet that I used on my CRX in the front and in the back when I made my pieces, again, from previous videos. I've just kind of held on to it for, moments when you never know you're going to need it. And I still got a little bit of the roll left here. So this is probably not the greatest piece of wood. I'll probably end up redoing this at a later date. But for now, there's the 2 screws for the little box. There's the other 2 there. These are just holes. Again, this was reused for the splitter. And this is, I think, one of these 2 are the holes that actually bolted in. So I'm just going to kind of cut a little bit over here now on it and leave this out there. That way this whole thing can, when I wrap it, I can kind of fold it underneath a little bit. But so the main visual appearance on the top is all covered in this nice black carpet. All right, so this is just some 3M high strength, just a contact adhesive. You can buy this at AutoZone, wherever. Just give it a good shake. And I'm just going to literally... So I kind of did one pattern there. Just kind of treat it like you're using paint. Get it good all over. Then I'm going to take the carpet that I just cut. feel that I've got edges. Now would be a good time to like clamp it. I don't have any clamps, so I'm just going to kind of fold it over. And in my case, you can see that there is, you know, I already kind of painted it. Again, this is from the splitter. And now I'm going to hit the edges. Once I kind of have this corner sort of nice, take my staple gun. All right, so there it is, all tidied up. Obviously when the rest of the interior panel comes here, you won't see any of this, but it's just, I know it's kind of nice and tidied up there. One bolt's kind of holding it in, and I don't think I showed it, but it's hard to see. There's another piece of wood right here because this platform over here is higher than over here. So I just kind of cut a piece of wood that's underneath this. When I tighten it down, it just sort of levels it out here. I used the screws that it came with to tighten it down there, and just kind of left that there. Yeah, so she's in there. Now, don't expect this little amp here to like, it's not a 10 or 12 or anything. It's not going to like thump. Essentially, if you've got the same issue that I've got, the two tweeters, the door speakers, it's just not a full sound. So this definitely just evens the sound out. All right, so the factory controls here using that Metro adapter harness. Essentially, the mute button still does not work, and that could be just because the head unit I have does not support that. Volume button, as you can see, changes the volume. If I hit this button during incoming call, it will answer the call, or if I push it, it'll change whatever your source is. So as I push it, it cycles through my options. But again, if someone's calling, that will answer the call. The channel button now, that actually ends up changing the song as it's playing for my Bluetooth on my phone at least. So, all right, so setting the gain on the subwoofer, I already did this earlier. So essentially play no music and just maybe kind of find out, what the highest your head unit goes to. So in my case, it was 62. So I turned the volume on the subwoofer off and then kept cranking this until my speakers inside here started to distort. About 50-ish was about where they started to kind of distort, so I backed it down to 45. So now that we discovered 50 was kind of my distortion for my front speakers and tweeters, I kind of backed it down to 45, go down a little bit, and I grabbed my little crossover, controller here. Personal opinion, I just kind of cranked this all the way to 125 because it's a little 8-inch speaker. And then as I was doing that, my minimum volume here was all the way off. So found that it distorts at 50, back down to 45, and then I slowly started turning the volume up right until this sub essentially started to distort. As soon as it started to distort, I backed this down just a little bit and I resided right about there. So what that gets me is the gain for this little sub here and the head unit up there are basically on the same level, the same gain volume, same gain channel, whatever terminology you want to use. So as I turn that up, this turns up and they're the same volume. Otherwise, if I didn't do that, and I just kind of put this, let's say 3/4 of the way, as I turn that up, this sub might be overpowered, and next thing I know is I can't get, this starts clipping before that's even loud enough, or vice versa. So that kind of got them both in the same channel as far as volume, and we are good now. All right, so I just made a quick little jam. It's just, I guess, we'll just say some general post-rock music, which is what I play. So it's not any like heavy bass stuff. It'll handle that just fine anyways, but I'm gonna just kind of hold the camera right here from like the perspective if I'm just sitting in the seat. I know the GoPro's running the greatest thing to pick this up, but hopefully it'll come through here. So subwoofer's off. I'll let this play for about 20 seconds and we'll do it again with the subwoofer on. So here we go. just simply, we'll go to audio here. Subwoofer on, whoops, subwoofer on. Do the same thing for the driver's seat, and I'll just kind of move it over to the passenger seat once we, the same spot roughly. There we go. Passenger seat. All right, so hopefully that helps you. If you're curious what the install is like or how I did it, you could probably route a regular amp the same exact way as I routed that. Just put the amp in the same spot and put the sub, you know, in the trunk area. So, I mean, you could do a dozen things with that setup. So overall, I'm quite happy with it. It definitely fills out my listening experience in the car from what I had. It's got two, I don't know what brand or what model they are, but the JVC speakers, they just have no low end or any mids in them really. And obviously the car only has two speakers, not kind of the two tweeters. So with the top down, I have it cranked and I can kind of hear it. Like the stoplights, it's great, but it definitely, that little setup definitely, you know, prevails much more with the top up, or if you had a hard top, you know, it'd probably be okay. And I'll reiterate again, do not expect it to thump like a 10 or a 12 that has its own separate amp. That's like just kind of adding a nice 8-inch speaker that can handle some low end. Overall, I'm very happy with it. I don't think I'm gonna move away from it. I don't want a car that's got a ton of, you know, I don't need the trunk vibrating or anything like that. That fits my needs perfectly. I think I may just upgrade the JVC door speakers just a little bit, just to kind of get maybe a little bit more mid-range in them, so I can kind of turn the amp down a little bit, and maybe I can push the speakers a little louder, just for those moments where the top is down and I kind of want the radio to be up. But I don't think you're buying a convertible car to have the radio cranked. I think you're just kind of buying it, I don't know, my opinion is, you know, to enjoy the weather and the atmosphere that it provides you. Hearing the exhaust, just, you know, the road, everything like that. But that's that. So hopefully this does help you if you're curious of the amp. Maybe that little sound test on the GoPro is not the greatest, but hopefully it's something, and it kind of gives you enough idea that, you know, there is a much bigger bass increase in that little setup. So I don't know when this video is coming out in relation to everything else. The CRX has been to the 8th mile drag strip again, which did not go very well. Nothing broke on the car, just tired of some things. That'll be another video output that I still have now. Stuff is coming forward. I've got a hydraulic tranny and a full hydro conversion to do to this car. I still have a quick ratio quafe steering rack to put in this car. I need to just get around to doing it. Fuel pump, Walbro fuel pump's getting changed out in the S2000, along with just some TLC underneath the hood and some other things. So again, if you're here to follow either of them, I greatly appreciate it. Do leave your questions, comments below, or if anybody else has got any other tips to make the S2000 sound better. I know I've seen some things where people are drilling door speakers, you know, some circles or whatever, I think like 6.5s behind the seat into the panels. I don't really want to destroy any panels if I don't have to, or at least if I could easily revert back to, you know, originality. So again, I appreciate everybody for watching. Stay tuned for more on both cars, and see you next time.